Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. A short history of kitchen dwellers.
joined today by Shawn Swain from the Kitchen Dwellers. Are you up in Montana now?
Yep, I'm at my house just north of Bozeman. I've been home for a couple weeks and we head out on the road on, I guess it'd be, the bus leaves on Monday night from town, so I don't even have to fly anywhere, which is nice.
Right, and you're gonna have Armchair Boogie with you?
We got Armchair Boogie with us for the later leg in the at the end of the run up in the north in the PNW, and then we have some other acts from Southern California kind of joining us on that portion of it.
There you go. There you go. Very nice. Is there really no speed limit in Montana?
So that was a thing. It is there is a speed limit now on the state highways. It's pretty high. That probably went away, I'd say, in the early 2000s. But people love to still talk about it. But basically, what happened is people couldn't get their cars insured if they were able to drive as fast as they wanted to. So the state had to implement. It used to be what was considered reasonable and prudent,
Okay.
which
Which
it's still fast.
right, yeah, exactly. Sometimes when you're late, reasonable and prudent is way too fast.
Yeah, and honestly, some of the speed limits they've set on some of these state highways is like faster than I would be driving.
Right. Right. Yeah, if my car got up to 80 miles an hour, it would shake apart probably. So,
Yeah, I drive a big pickup truck and it feels a little crazy going that fast as well.
right. Very nice. Yeah, we talked to Armchair Boogie a couple weeks back, and they were saying how much you took them in. They were so appreciative of you guys and saying that you had really opened up, all kinds of doors for them and shown them the way, which I really love the quote unquote mentoring kind of thing that I was hearing from them. Um, so with that said, why don't we jump in and do the origin story
Cool.
of Kitchen Dwellers? How did you guys first get together, and are they all the same members still, or have you had some turnover?
We have one different member from the beginning, and it's not even really, I mean, he's been with us for like 11 years now. So basically, the whole thing started in as kind of like an after school special in college in like 2010 um, at my house. And it was just a group of people who got together that were trying to figure out how to play these instruments together. And I think the fact that we all learn together is kind of why our sound is unique and comes from the way it is. But eventually, it just came time to do an open mic at one of the bars in town that we were all definitely not old enough to go to. And the only room big enough in my house that we could fit into practice was my kitchen. And one of the girlfriends at the time came up with the name, and
Nice.
we just never came up with anything better. And yeah, it's been the same iteration of the band as it is right now, the same four since 2013. We did have another fiddle player for a little while, but that was kind of a short time, and that lasted a couple of years. And it's basically, I think, since 2015, 14 probably, it's just been the four of us.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, I always joke that some bands, I see them waking up the next morning after a long night and being like, "We named the band what?"
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we always thought, and like it is goofy, but it's memorable. And if you Google us, I don't think there's anybody else with that name.
There, yeah, yeah, there you go. That definitely is a good thing. We named this All That Jam, not realizing that apparently there was a movie at one time called All That Jam.
Oh, nice, nice.
But I think
I
we've
mean,
overtaken him because the movie is not famous at all, and we release so
I've
much stuff.
yeah, I've never heard of it myself. So
It's funny. That's funny. You guys, I guess you're labeled as bluegrass. I don't think you guys necessarily consider yourselves bluegrass, do you?
No, I like to tell people that we are definitely an Americana rock band with bluegrass or mountain oriented music or instruments. Um, and we play some stuff that's influenced by bluegrass, and then 3% of what we actually play is probably could be considered bluegrass.
Okay.
Um, so we do play some traditional standards and stuff like that, but to really be, you know, a bluegrass sound, you have to fit into this pretty small niche in a stylistic manner in which way you do things. And we really just don't do that. You know, we're all from the western half of the country, and nobody grew up in Appalachia, so a lot of the sound that we kind of found, we created on our own, and I think that's pretty cool. But I think just the fact that our instrumentation lends to that's the easiest way to be categorized. But
Mhm.
I really don't think it's an Americana rock band with acoustic instruments.
Right, right. How do you blend all the things? The folk, the bluegrass, the little bit of jazz while honoring the traditions that they come from.
Well, that's an interesting thing to talk about. I think that a lot of that comes from each member's influence and backgrounds being quite a bit different. I myself did grow up kind of around a lot more bluegrass than a lot of the band, just because I grew up in Telluride, Colorado, where they have the festival. Um, so I definitely I'm probably the one who listens to the most bluegrass, and then maybe wants to bring the most bluegrass in. But we have Max is from the Chicago area, and he comes from a heavy background of classic rock, and he brings that. Joe grew up in Alaska, where he kind of his parents were really into you know, folk music from the 60s and 70s, and you'll see that a lot in his writing, kind of in the storytelling manners. And then Torin grew up on a ranch in Montana, where like another storytelling tradition of old cowboy songs comes across heavily. And he also, actually, much like myself in high school, we were both really into punk rock quite a bit, so that sound comes across quite a bit on our live performance.
Right. I was gonna call back to 2022. You put out Wise River, which was really much more rock influenced than say what Muir made, the one before it, which was a little
Totally.
more, I guess, ballad oriented. How much of that, I guess that was, your influences, but how much did Corey Wong have to do with pulling that out of you guys?
I mean, I think quite a bit. He helped us to discover a recipe, and what we were searching for that album was how to get the point across without meandering too much on something. And he's such like a driven, and it's hard to describe his energy is totally like unwavering in the studio, and he just works super fast. And I think his personality is completely what you see with his music. And it's really an efficient and structured way to do things, and which we had never done before. So I think that kind of like lends itself to a lot more of those. Like you said, and it's like a classic rock influence comes out in a lot of those songs.
What would you call some of your biggest influences on what
Well,
you do today?
I mean, I definitely grew up with my parents were big Deadheads. Um, so that influence is always there, especially in their way to bring this Americana tradition into rock and roll. They were really just kind of like a psychedelic country band in a lot of ways. And it comes from all their backgrounds. That, and then for me, when I was in high school, growing up in Colorado, like the Ondermountain String Band was the biggest deal ever for us. And so Jeff Austin was such a rock star in my little world. And that's huge and always will be huge. And then, I mean, coming to a more contemporary sense, a band like when I go see the infamous String Dusters, no matter where or what they're doing, that I consider them pretty much like the best live bluegrass jam band. and they blow me away every time. So I think that those three things there are huge. And then a lot of just singer-songwriter, country and cowboy music is really big in my writing influence.
There you go. What was it like working with Chris Pandolfi?
Oh, Chris is the best. Chris is a great friend. Him and I are fishing buddies and and on outside of the music world. And then he just approaches everything he does in his life so methodically and intentionally that it's just like he's just a wealth of knowledge on existence, basically, and also just like the kindest guy, just such a mellow attitude, and I just love being around him so much.
Nice. He for our listeners, he helped with the Mermaid album.
Yep,
Correct?
yep. He produced that one.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.